Grings. All right, this is going to be a continuation from yesterday on cloning, and we're going to what on genetics and things of that sort. So we'll see. I don't exactly know where we're going. I have an idea, but we'll dive in as much as we can. It's also and the Alien. That's talking about the Alien movie yesterday. Alien 3 was on a prison planet, and there's the Alien movie after that, Resurrection, is about cloning. So yeah, which is kind of the way because she dies at the end, and they like somehow clone her back. It's whatever. It's a little bit. Well, it is what it is for that. Okay, this is avatar.com for those who need all of this. We have our private sessions. We have one at channel. We have Google Hangout, Zoom, and China on my phone. I went to the shop. I'm on the 19th this month. Same situation here. We have the webinar sign up. Let's see if I can get this stuff. Have the social network, the rabbit. Let's go through some stuff there, and we have early access. So thank you for your support. So okay. I'll just let them come through because I already have an idea. Well, sort of. This should be interesting. It's going a little bit, little pieces here and there. So yeah, there's only so much they can give us, but just see what happens. So all right, blessings. Here we go. Greetings. This is Anki with the Anunnaki. Greetings to your society. Cloning, yes, is part of alien creation. And yes, you can be cloned from your brothers and sisters quite easily. So to give you more of a different perspective, there is of animal energies. I'm going to go into full details, of course, not, but we do look at animal reactions and human reactions as is like the energies of a fox, a canine. All these different beings they find it way into you, but everyone is different, of course. Like a rat race, a rat being, the rat race is not mentioned very often, but also very connected. And some's going to be very positive, but also known to have disease and also known to create diseases on their own. So basically, you have all these different animal elements of that we work upon for your human development. What works best in a human feline as you are? Of course, you are a human feline, reptilian, even ape energies, because you do pull a lot from the ape. As for it goes much into the genetics of your how the body structure works. Yes, it goes with the feline, but still you are the feline. The alien feline is the next generation of the ape, you can say. Began with the ape, then the feline went into a human form. Now some might disagree with that, but we're not here for all of that. Much of it came from the ape. The ape is your gold standard, you can say, for DNA. But the ape isn't exactly the most rational being either. Some are, a lot of them aren't. Yes, there is a Planet of the Apes also. A Planet of the Apes that wants nothing to do with the human race either. It's like we can do it better. And yes, they have destroyed their planets, but they've also prospered. Also, and they're very sacred of their DNA, and also the fish you're connected to in some form or another. We'll have to do your senses, but it doesn't mean you have scales. But some feel like they've had scales at one time. So it's also another way for you to remember your history as a human, as an early human. You can easily connect to a bird being or a fish being because that's where you came from before. So of course you're going to connect to the fish or a fish being or a bird being, of course, easily. But much and those that you're connected to the trees. Some of you have been tree beings in your future, in your past, and you incarnate into the human. Of course, you're going to easily connect to the trees very easily. Now you're in this human form, and another reason why humans are so barbaric is a lot of it comes from the ape. Not necessarily reptilian. A lot of it is ape ancestry. They can be quite aggressive. Of course, reptilians can too, but if you add a reptilian and an ape together, you have a different creature there altogether, as what you are going through today. And yes, there is Archon mind control, yes, of the belief systems. You say the Archons developed the schooling of your world, as you call it, modern schooling. A lot of that does come from Archon archives. A lot of the ancients, even Orions, ancients took old manipulations that worked on other worlds and brought it to yours. Now you're here to unravel your existence here. Many of you are connected to the dolphin, which comes to the Syrians. The sonar, you're basically your psychic energies. A lot of that is in the Arab world too. You can think of an Arabic dolphin people as they're very some. Yeah, it's funny how a lot of Arabs are in the desert, but there's very connected to the oceans. But they brought their energy to the deserts not to heal. Well, at one time those were like Garden of Edens at one time. As a desert was not as a desert you have today. But but as for cloning, a lot of the energies come from the father for control mechanisms. So we go to your parents for if we want to clone you. We just go to your dad if you want to mental control you. Now you think it would come from the mother, but the mother has too much emotion, can break free. So don't deal with that. If you want to control a society, as what's built into you today. So it comes from a male control system. As you are connecting more to the feminine, you are feeling, you're basically bringing it's like breaking free. As you have male and female, you're balancing. It's another reason why some males here get a sex change operation because they want to break free of the control. Just to break free of it. Just to, there's more to it as you're slowly understanding. Your dulce in New Mexico is a lot of. At one time, there was a lot of alien elements there. It was just a perfect place. A lot of the Greys already made themselves at home there. So a lot of facilities are built there for various. Yes, there is an Orion presence there, a heavy one for that matter. And that is one. There's other places in Russia, but Dulce is still active in its own way. But the human embryo, a lot of it does come from the human also. I mean, the female of looks. So the male comes from just basically to shut the human down. So if we want to create a clone, we grab energies from your father figure. Yeah, so not just from you. Now, if the person's deceased, we'll just find someone that's similar enough to you to basically put in a shut off. So, but the female we use for looks. So we do mess around as they work with diseases. They designer diseases. You have designer babies. As for cloning, and cloning is done today, just not, of course, not publicly, obviously, but it is done behind the scenes, and it's done quite it's popular, but a lot of it is off world at this time, as some of you can connect to it. And to create a race, cloning is normal. It can be used in the negative, it can be used in the positive. On your world, it's used for the negative. So, of course, it's going to always go into your elite energy, at least those that are in the in celebrity forms, of course. So you have the male. The reason why the male is just an easier, it's just the development of the male in your world was once again a dominant energy of control. A lot of it's coming, it's mostly you look at governments, usually a male. There, if you see very few females. Of course, the female can be quite controlling too, as some of you have seen. But normally it's a male. It's put into the male as once again a shut off. And basically, it's because there's a, like you have in history, it's mostly a male dominant history, at least in leadership positions. There now others, and that's a very Martian energy that comes from Orion. It was just an easier control system. It just, they weren't, as long as you give them power, money, wealth, relationships. It was, now it had to start with the power elite first. They have to show that first. They, of course, when everything was perfect, had a more feminine vibration, and it was more of a neutral, a balance. But when that ended, the male became dominant. So teaching the male to be dominant was not easy either, because a lot of males did not want to be that way. So it had to be beaten into him. So you had to create somebody like Julius Caesar and others to show what a dominant figure looks like. So if you have a male that's saying, "Oh, we're equals," that doesn't work. As your Catholic Church, once again, more of a dominant male energy, which a lot of pedophilia, of course, started in the beginning stages, unfortunately. And that is a lot of the elites. Yes, that's where they get their bloodlines from, of course. That's where they mix bloodlines. That's where they want to create their superhumans, which is not done publicly ever. It's always the super soldiers have always been through your ancient past. Always your what do you call it? Your Samson is one version of it, and there are others. Hercules is another. Of course, the rest of them have been cleared out. I mean, there were others that like Hercules in your past, others like Samson too. Of course, cutting the hair wasn't really true, but there are other ways of, yes, basically a female can seduce, and that was true. So yeah, we're not going to go into details of that. But basically, you're putting the building blocks of your reality together, as you can see. You're Barack Obama. Yes, much of it comes from the Egyptians. So you have a figures that look like they're from the past. So it shows those bloodlines are still creating, as you know, the pharaohs are continuing to create this reality. And they're not going to, so there's always going to be a copy there. And are those clones? Some of them are. But yes, genetic engineering, how a child will look, especially in the old, yes, in the fourth dimension, they can see it more clearly. But once again, it's a more prominent. It's very disprominent. It is normal. Now, for your world, a lot of it's been shut down. As you basically see through the elites, yeah, it basically goes down to, yes, Orions, but it goes back to your Pharaoh Orions of always working on who's going to be your controllers for the next 10 years. And looks plays a big role in it. Now you have your elderly that are part of your government, and those are old Illuminati energies. Some of them start, I mean, sometimes they just activate them later in life. They don't have to be done. And then usually it's small town folk, they have that. It's a selling point, just like Hillary Clinton changing her voice and trying to get to conform with everyone. Clones are done the same way. You want to make it as natural looking as possible. But clone is the most easier one to control, of course. Yes, they are implanted. So Yes, basically, we ever have a clone race. It's or basically say like your CEO of Amazon. There's already several clones of him already, and we sent you the best one. And remember, all this is off world. So they send you, that tells you how much control we have over this planet. They send you the best one, and if it doesn't work out, we switch it around. We change it. We change the soul and the body, or change the body altogether, which is also possible. That is more rare, but it does occur. Well, those that are running your planet have the keys of how to shift energies, as they show the stopping time for that matter. Just like in the movies, you stop time, you come in, you rearrange things, you turn the time back on. Some of you go to sleep. I mean, you're not going to notice it. And they say it's all fiction, but it's actually right in front of you more. Yeah, you're not going to detect it. I mean, if you, as even there's also, yes, other fiction of, yeah, they slow down your, stop your society and move things around. But we do it, we don't, it's not revealed of how it's truly done here. But it does happen. As some of you already know, this is kind of a not real. This world isn't exactly real. It's like a computer simulation. We'll let you, but most aren't going to. Most of societies, of course, not going to grab onto that. Usually, just let things flow. Let your world flow. But when we have to have somebody that's controlling your society, that's when everything stops. At least in some parts of your world. That's why I see a plane stop in your sky. Or people freezing in the middle of nowhere. A glitch in the matrix. Freezing reality is a normal thing. It's not just fiction. It's telling you how we do it through fiction, but we do it all the time. How and when, and yeah, some there's glitches in it where somebody freezes, as you see on television. Yeah, it's nothing's perfect. But we just call it a medical condition, or we just call it fake. Because it's not to happen often. But freezing of your reality happens all the time though. It's just not broadcasted frequently, that's all. So, but some do have, well, it gives you be surprised. I mean, you have a reptilian brain, it's easy to manipulate. As some of you know. So those that are programmed on your society, just they get a reboot also. Every once in a while. They don't get a freeze reboot, but they get a new sports team or something that comes in. Even sports has language in it for programming, as you know. Sports has another. When they talk about sports, it actually means something else, but we're not going into detail what that means. Yes, everything has another language to it. You might call it sports, we call it cryptic, is what we call it. You can call it programming, but it's much more to it than that. But basically, humans are downloaded, yes. Well, you come from spirit. Basically, your energies come from spirit, and basically, aliens, it's like they pull from spirit, you can say, and control it. Now, the spirit wants to experience life. Well, we have clones. You want to incarnate that? And all of us say yes. So, not everybody says yes, but quite a few say yes. It's an experience in the physical. They take what we offer. So, as we call aliens gods, not really, but we act like it, yes. Well, you know how the world works. And soon you will too. It's not something, yeah, because we give you little things here and there. It doesn't mean a ship is going to land anytime soon, but you get little hints of how things are put together. But there are clone worlds, clone societies, or where the clones are taught of how to create. There are other worlds where they're also building societies too, like online. They're not just doing it here. I mean, there's like another Jeff Bezos on another planet doing that's a clone, doing the same thing, but it's quite differently though. It's not exactly. And Bill Gates and several others, not everybody, but yeah, this is your higher elite at its work. This is how it works. This is how it's like chess. It's a lot more complicated than that, but it's the controllers of your society. It's up to you to believe what you want to believe, though. Now you're just like, oh, that's not real. But then when you see the false realities that we're giving, and also Hollywood puts it out there right in front of you, and people just say, oh, that's not real. Missed opportunity, one of many. Because the keys of the castle, the keys of reality are put right in front of society, and they just look the other way. Yes, the more crazy, the more believable. At least the more real it is. Let's put it that way. But many have difficulties believing in it. Well, because you're trained, you're part of the program. Of course, you're going to believe what you're told. So, all right, that's a slight insight into how things work. Blessings. Greetings. Aspect of Orion. Greetings to the Orions once again. Realize a lot of your alien ships play a big part in their program of how it occurs. I think some of you have. It is they're a part of different regions of your planet to create your reality. Or those humans. So on even on ships, there are clone ships, meaning clones on them. That some are going to have difficulties believing this, but they send clones to your world. Now, how they do that, we're not going into details of. When one fails, another one comes in. Sometimes different, even, yeah, you can say Nancy Pelosi has had a injection here and there. The more that they're in, so you have a clone version that is in silence, like at home and all that. But when a major event occurs, like we want a certain task to be done, we can send in a clone. So it's not the easiest thing to tap into either. It's not what you just write on a board. This is how we do things. A lot of it's fourth dimension. We're not going to fully review it, but we put information out there to see how you take it, just as we are doing now. It's been done many other times, and people are like, "Oh, that's not real," and go back to your merry way. The more open-minded, the better. Because cloning is an insight to how your world works. Because clones set a vibration to keep you under control in hypnotism. Because they are taught to say certain frequencies, certain words. The more, of course, they're put out in the public to do so. When you have a clone out in the public, in front of an audience, that's where they're most powerful at. That's when the strongest hypnotism works. You probably feel like a satellite's hitting you. It's like this is a different type of energy. Television's strong, but that is even stronger. Now, music is even better, especially when you have a clone musician, because just the sound. I mean, even some of you are kind of wondering, how does this type of music stay popular? Hypnotism, of course. It is such a strong hypnotism. They tell you that it's good, even when it's not. Now, why certain music is not pop? Now, some music is very real, at least in the top 10. Some of it's real and it doesn't get it. Some of it gets attention, some of it doesn't. Even some of the programming music, some of it doesn't get attention because either the human population just didn't jive with it, or we changed our minds. It was just for a specific group of people. It wasn't for everybody. Because music can reset somebody's program. Yeah, this is all, you have to think science fiction here. If you want to connect to the aliens, you got to think way outside the box, what you're used to. Of course, they try to put you in this mental cage, and you got to break that, which is not the easiest thing, as many of you know. But there's many layers to the game. But it's funny, it is like Monopoly. It is like these board games. We put it right in front of you once again, but we're not making it exactly clear of how we do things. But once again, it's up to you to put the pieces together. And there are many pieces, yes. For programming, we'll give an example of an actor, Ted Danson, is a programmer. You see some actors are, he's an actor if you're wondering who the hell that is. For the older crowds with the 80s and 90s, yeah, just notice how they still kind of stay. If they're good at programming society, they somehow have a career. Now, if you're an actor trying to make a career out of yourself, it's like I'm not good at programming people. You're probably not, which is not a bad thing. It's just that you're not. Yes, you haven't sold your soul out, but doesn't mean you can't find a way. But someone like Ted Danson, he's kind of ageless in some regard. What group he's with, we'll just leave you with that. That's all we have at this moment. There's another being here, though. Blessings. Greetings to you. I am Leviticus with the tall whites. As you can see, our humans have been messed with a great deal. It's like it's hard to breathe on a planet like this, of as much toxic pollution of control. So even those of you who have come from a reptilian reality have had difficulties being here. Even your aliens have had problems here too. As they can't hear, because it comes through sound waves, as some of you know, that you can't hear. And even the aliens, yeah, it's like they don't use, well, they use sound weapons, yes. And it goes to the trees. The trees are used to magnify that. Now, many of you are here to heal these things. Now, we're mentioning these things so you can heal it. Now, as humanity, well, you're here to learn what the rest of the universe is going through, too. It just you have a good portion, a lot of it here. This is a place where a lot of the darkness, like dark beings, hide themselves on other worlds. But here, their signatures are here. So on another planet that's a little bit more awakened, but they have a manipulation there, they just look at your planet and say, wow, we have the same kind of manipulations going on. And they can eventually figure out who it is. Your world is not quite there yet. As you're not seeing these beings as you like, other worlds always have the idea. Well, let's put it this way, just for example. So, like you're on a Syrian world and you have Palladians there that don't like you, but you don't know who it is. So you look at this world, investigate. Oh, there's Palladians here manipulating this society, and they do. There's similar things in our world too. So you kind of do a little bit of investigating. We'll just use that for example of where the manipulation comes from. As you as a race, yes, you have 6 months to a year of awakening to occur. Doesn't mean you'll have your ships. Well, anything's possible. Well, we feel like many of you are ready for more galactic truth. As there's been messages of healing. You wonder why some messages come out. It's like, well, what is that message? It's a healing energy. Some of it is healing your spirit guides. Some of it's healing your parents, family, somebody, your auntie, your cat. It's not always, it's for you, but it goes through to others that you're around. It's like, I don't think that message is for me, but it connected to somebody. This is not always that clear. Now, as tall whites, yes, we do, much of the Orion energies, much of Orion beings, yes, there's a small group. It's always a small group, and they are very Egyptian like. They wear the hairdresses, they look all fancy. Even the air changed when we mentioned it. Yeah, they take the Egyptian hairdress as their clothing. The ones that are suppressing your society is positive ones too, of course. But the pharaohs, yes, they put the pharaohs in front of themselves. But anytime you elitist Egyptian energies, anything, museums are right in your face. Those that own it, they now there's positive uh Illuminati also through Egypt that want you to see, you know, some of it's connected to the Louvre is like half and half. It's positive and it's dark. It's like a little bit of everything there. Your British Museum, 50-50 there. Smithsonian is pure Illuminati. Not of the positive usually. Some positive, mostly not. Because it has all the programming. It puts in a museum. This programs society, the television, the radio, great inventions of programming humanity. Nothing from Tesla. Even now, your what is it? Your Edison. Now, yeah, he was Illuminati too, but yeah, he was positive and dark too. He wasn't all bad, but he was bad. We just didn't get his way. And a lot of his inventions did not work, and he got a lot to credit. He was like your Steve Jobs of the past, basically, in his own way. But yes, his soul is very hurt at this time. A lot of its own doing, the ego out of control, and he's a reptilian being from Orion, yes. So yeah, did he sell himself? No, he's always been part of the elitist family. Elitist families just have fun. Elitist families create your music groups. So you might hate this music more than anything, but some of your elitist families just love it because of what it does. It's poison in the air, basically. Some of it, not all of it. We're not going to mention names, who that is. Yeah, it's just poisoning the airwaves. Just your sirens, your musicians. It doesn't matter if you don't like it. You're going to take it anyway. A lot of it's coded, as you can see. So, and a lot of the kids of the elite do put that music out there. Young blood, they know how young people think, and it's just here to seduce society now instead of entertain. For now, at least. That's all we have. Our energies are in the mountains. If you're looking for us, we're also connected to your moon. As for your cloning, it's usually the white person, yes, the easiest to control. Others have been difficult. Um, they can break free or have their own ideas, which is even worse. Your Bush family is a clone family. A clone family going wrong, of course. Doesn't know. It's draining out now.